Hello, my loves, and welcome to a new episode of Publisher's Brunch with Karis. My name is Karis Rogerson. I am the titular host of the podcast, and I am here today to introduce you to a brand new episode. But before we dive into the interview, I've just got some things to chat about. So let's go. So, if you're new here, I am Karis Rogerson. As I mentioned, I am an author with a debut young adult sapphic romance coming out June 23, 2026. Just over 3 months away now, which is absolutely bonkers. I also have a couple of podcasts that I host, this one and The Right Way of Life, which is a craft-focused author interview podcast that I host with my friend Addie. You should check it out as well. I think we have a new episode coming out tomorrow because we're a little helter-skelter these days, but it's all good. And I am also... God, my brain is so scattered today. I don't know why. It's been a really weird week for me, or a couple of weeks for me, with like my depression has been kicking in. My moods have been roller coastery in the most extreme of ways. I can go from being really happy to really sad. I'm so exhausted from being sad though, where it's like sometimes I'll start crying and I'm like, oh my god, my face is just like so tired of this shit, right? Like, because when you cry, your face, like, your muscles scrunch, and then it's just physically exhausting, and that's, I don't know, it's a rough time to exist in the world. I'm recording this on Saturday, March 7th, 2026. Last week, we we just like went to war with Iran, and by we I mean the states, the US. It's not a sanctioned war, it's not a popular war, it's not anything that I am in support of, but unfortunately I'm not in charge of the government, and um I can't yeah, it doesn't seem like the people who are in charge of the government are willing to take a stand against this war, and it's already awful. I mean, on day one, it's bad enough, it's awful enough when war, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically on day one last Saturday, a US strike, I think it was US, struck a elementary school for girls in Iran and killed like 175 people, and it's the kind of atrocity and horror that just overcomes you. Um and I don't know, I can't fathom it. I can't fathom being okay with this. I've seen Facebook, where I exist because I have a fucking page or whatever. It started showing me conservative posts of people being like, woohoo, we're at war. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't understand. It makes me feel like I'm living on a different plane of reality from people. And I don't know, this isn't a fun thing to talk about. This isn't like happy peppy yay podcast whatever, but it feels important to say, one, I'm so against everything our government has done, especially in foreign policy, especially, actually, not even especially, both in foreign policy and domestic. And also, if you're also feeling like this like, it's like a break with reality almost. Like, you look around and you see people who are celebrating, you see people who are like, oh, we're doing the Lord's work. And it feels like we must be living in different realities. And it's mind boggling, and it's infuriating, and it's confusing. And just, you're not alone in feeling like that. There are others. So many of us are so horrified and gobsmacked at all times. This week I've really been grappling with like, what can I do? I don't have the money to donate. I don't have the physical capacity to go out and hit the streets and protest. I don't have political capital to like lobby anyone in DC. I can call my representatives in Congress, but I don't. I mean, it's like Chuck Schumer. What's he gonna do? Change his mind? Charles? Charles change his mind? I wish he would. So I'm at a place right now where I don't know what to do. And that really sucks because I like to feel like someone, I am at my best mentally and also just in general when I feel empowered and when I feel like I'm taking actions that matter and I don't. And it's not the worst thing in the world that I am not, it is not the biggest problem anyone is facing in the world today, but it is frustrating to feel so helpless in the face of such horrors and to know what's happening, to see it every day on my phone and my news notifications and just everywhere I turn to see the horrors and to feel like I don't know what I can do to change it. And I mean, I was in therapy yesterday and my therapist was like, right, I mean, you can't. And I was like, why would you say something so mean? But it's true. I am just a girl. I don't have all the power in the world. I am not the center of the universe. I cannot fix everything. And for someone like me, especially someone who grew up as a missionary kid, not just an evangelical cult member, not just a pastor's kid, a missionary kid, where the literal fate of the world's souls were placed on my shoulders, like my friends' souls, my neighbors' souls, like their eternal status was something that I was responsible for. It really fostered this sort of fallacy in me that I have a lot of control or power or say over how other people exist in the world, and I don't. And then, anyway, I'm getting off topic here. The whole point of this was to say if you're frustrated and angry and scared and furious, you're not alone. If you have ideas for what can be done as individuals or as a community, I would love it if you felt like sharing with me. In the meantime, I am going to continue writing because writing is queer joy, but also queer anger. Makes me feel like it allows me to feel like I'm doing something because I don't know, it just, it's good for my soul, I guess. So I'm going to keep writing, I'm going to keep reading, I'm going to keep celebrating stories. This week, not to make everything about heated rivalry, but let's be so real. If you know anything about me, you know that that's all I care about these days. But heated rivalry did win a GLAAD award, which is just really special and iconic of them. And it really speaks to the power of stories and the power of representation and joy and love and romance and all of that good stuff. Speaking of romance, I have been reading some romances lately. I recently read a indie published book called Offside Play by Becca Steele. It is an sports romance between a British soccer player and a Canadian hockey player, and it is so cute. Fluffy, low on angst, really, and just delicious. And I had a grand old time with it. I'm also just now beginning to read Can't Help Faking in Love by Swati Hegde, which is about well, I'm only one chapter in, so I don't really know everything, but I think it's about a fake relationship that turns real, and it's set in, so far, Bangalore, which is really fun. I love a non-Western centric setting, and I'm really excited to read the book. It's giving peak rom-com excellence, and I'm so excited for it. Speaking of excellence, let's talk about this week's guest, because I spoke with the incredible Dahlia Adler. I will let her introduce herself in about 30 seconds, and in the meantime, I will read her bio for y'all. Dahlia Adler is the award-winning author of 7 young adult novels, editor of 5 young adult anthologies, and founder of the website LGBTQ Reads. Her bookish byline has appeared on BuzzFeed, BNN Reads, Reactor, and more. She enjoys 90s rock, rewatching Grey's Anatomy, finding great cover songs, crying at commercials, and extremely short walks on the beach. She lives in the New York City suburbs with her family. Please welcome Dahlia Adler to Publishers Brunch. All right. Hello, everyone. I am here, not live. I always want to say live, but this isn't SNL. I'm here recording with Dahlia Adler. Hello, Dahlia. How are you? Could you introduce yourself and your books to our listeners?
Oh, yeah, sure. Jumping right in.
Yeah,
Okay, that's not like always the first question, and somehow I'm never ready for
fair.
it. I am Dahlia Adler. I am an author. I have thus far been primarily an author of YA. My books include a bunch of queer stuff like Cool for the Summer, Home Field Advantage, Going by Coastal, um, some stuff that's not queer, like Come As You Are, although my friend Jen Dugan did call it like the queerest straight book she's ever read. So
It's also just so good. Like all your books are so good, but Come As You Are has like a very special place in my heart.
thank you. Mine too. I've done a whole bunch of anthologies. I especially love doing retellings. So His Hideous Heart, That Way Madness Lies, and At Midnight are all collections of reimagined classic stories by fantastic YA authors. I have a holiday anthology called For the Rest of Us, Girls in Sports anthology that I co-edited with Jennifer Icapelli called Out of Our League. I even have some like self-published new adult romances from back in the day that I still love very much. So I have done a whole bunch of stuff, but very excitingly, my debut adult romance comes out May 19th, and that's called Soon by You. And that's really exciting. It's a modern Orthodox Jewish romance, and it is spicy, and it is set in New York City, and it is a lot of things I love, and just, yeah, pulls from some really good times. And I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for people to read it. So a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Separately, by day, I am a game writer. I write for an app called Choices, which is like interactive fiction. And I also run a website called LGBTQ Reads, which is curated book recs all across the queer spectrum, all across the literary spectrum. And that, like next week, we'll be hitting a decade of existence, which is
That's
really cool.
amazing.
Sorry, I don't know when this airs, but yeah, but that's coming up. So that's really cool. And yeah, I've been written about a lot of books for a lot of places for the last 13 years or so. Books are very my thing. Writing is very my thing.
That's a
Um,
mood.
yeah, that was a lot of stuff. Sorry, I should have a more streamlined introduction,
No,
but
I love it. I mean, you have like 10 plus years of writing books and celebrating books. Like you've got a lot to talk about.
I do.
I will say one, Dahlia in my brain, I'm always like, Dahlia, anthology queen, fix your websites. So
No, I'm the bully of the internet when it comes to telling people to update their websites. But like one thing about book blogging, and also I've done a ton of panel moderation, is like you really pull from those things. Or
oh, tell me about
yeah,
it.
like I'm trying to figure out, what you're interested in and what you've done, and frankly, a little bit sometimes where you live and
And who your publicist is,
who
because
your publicist is, who your publisher is. Like, there's when your pub date is, what books you have coming out, what order your books come in. There's like a zillion questions your website can so easily answer that can save me so much time. And I have absolutely like just been like, I can't do this today, and like drop books from coverage if it was too much work to figure it out. So,
no, that's so fair because so much of I think book promo is like just removing obstacles, right? Like, oh, here's a book and here's a link to it and here's the cover and here's everything you
mhm,
need to know because otherwise like I personally will hunt down a book, but that's because I'm me and I am books. Like that's all I care about. But like people who have hobbies don't have time for all of that.
yeah.
And also LGBTQ Reads, amazing site. I've been loving it for the past decade. I just shared it in a Sapphic book club Discord because they were like, "Is there a website where I can find like romance novels by?" And I was like, "Yes, here you go." And they're all queer, and they did my cover reveal. Let's go.
I will say, if it's specifically sapphic, like the Lesbian Review, which has been around longer than LGBTQ Reads, has a fantastic tagging system. Like I recommend it all the time, especially when people are looking for things like butch rep.
Okay.
'Cause they have really organized lesfic in like a really incredible, easily searchable way, and I admire them very much. I cannot do that. Mine are all like lists that like I link, add links when I have time and whatever. But it's so, I mean, you can tell I know nothing about technology from my website. It's
I
just right
actually
so out there for you.
I actually am always amazed when I get the blog updates because you'll do like lists of like fave five
Hmm.
on a topic or something, and I'm always like, holy cow, like you put so much time and effort and care into the website, and I think it shows, and
Thank you.
I appreciate it as someone who has recently benefited from its
Yeah.
existence, but I've also appreciated
Reveals are
it
really fun. Like
as
I
a
get to
reader.
feel like I'm like really with the book from the start, and it's just like I feel such like a special little ownership over the books whose covers get revealed on the site. So
And as someone who like we did it like literally a month ago, the fact that LGBTQ Reads was like a collaborator on my post like doubled the reach, I'm pretty sure. Like it was wild just to see how much like one person giving you use of like helping you with their platform can just change the game. So,
yeah, that was a
yeah.
good discovery because I am really bad at making Instagram graphics, and it was taking me so much time, and I was like, I can't do this anymore as part of doing this. Like, it's all
Yeah.
already volunteer time I don't have.
100%.
Just collaborating with people, I find has like really lifted the reach. So I'm like, you know what? This is the compromise.
Instagram
And
has done a
so
lot of really crappy things, but the collaborator on a post is a good one. I'll give
yeah.
them their props.
Mhm.
All right. So we always, well, we start of late with icebreaker questions, which
Mm.
sounds awful because people are like, oh my God, you're going to ask me a fun fact? No. I test run my icebreaker questions on all my friends, and when they say this is a good one, I put it on the podcast.
All
My
right.
friends in my Discord are used to just like every randomly at like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, I'll be like, I'm bored. Here's a random question. And they're like, oh my God, she's here. So today's question I'm very excited about. If you could create like think like museum of ice cream type museum, right? Like
Mhm.
fun, quirky, etc. And it's also a little bit speculative because it's of your author memories, journey, career, etc. So like
Mm.
what are the top memories and moments that you would want people to check out in an exhibit?
It's a great question. I think the coolest event I ever did was at the Congressional Cemetery in DC. It was so cool. It was for his Hideous Heart. So, like, the goth vibe was perfect. I think it was actually the first book event they ever did there. Jeff Spotswood, who's fantastic, moderated it. It was so cool. I mean, like, the
What?
vibe, the audience, that everything about it was amazing. I wore this, like, very gothy black dress, kind of trying to embody the character of like my story was based on Ligeia. It was just so much fun, and like I have a bunch of bookish friends in DC, so like also got to see
Okay.
some cool people. That was a huge highlight. I did an anthology panel that I really loved with Catherine Locke and Lamar Giles and Ellen O
Oh,
at
nice.
NCTE in Baltimore one year. I think that was 2019. I met Sarah Farazan, which was amazing. So that was also His Hideous Heart really has some of my good memories because the truth is my novels um, came out like Cool for the Summer like might be my biggest book, but that came out May 2021. Like it was an iffy time to do events. It was an iffy time to do promo. I mean, everything around then was kind of complicated, and it was sort of like a re-jump start for my career kind of phase. And His Hideous Heart was the only one that predated COVID. Um, so I got to do all this stuff. I was supposed to go to like a conference I was so excited. I always wanted to go to. It was March 2020. And I've been invited to very little since then. So yeah, I've done really great Pride panels at the BNN in Center City in Philadelphia. Those have been really fun. Maybe I did like one Pride panel, one book event. I definitely did like an in conversation with Catherine Locke. I do a lot with Catherine Locke when I
Nice.
can, who's one of my
Yeah.
best friends. And I do a lot with Jen Dugan. So
Love both of them.
last year, like all my events were with Jen Dugan. Another big highlight event at the BNN Colony Center in Albany with Jen Dugan and Becky Albertalli.
Oh, I remember that one. I was like, can I take a train?
People did. People traveled really far for that one. It was amazing. The number of people who would come like 3 hours, I was like, wow.
Damn.
Um, this I learned is a really big difference about being like New York City adjacent versus basically anywhere else is like I hate if I have to go 2 hours to somewhere that feels forever away, but if they have to go 3 hours, it's like, oh, that's not a big deal. I do that all
Right, it's
the time.
just Texas.
Yeah. So
Oh my God. Yeah.
that was a great one. Um, yeah, I those are big highlights. I mean, my early launches, like the beginning of my career feels like a billion years away now, but so many people came to my debut launch for behind the scenes.
Nice.
The like launch party for just visiting. My husband put together this amazing like frat party because the
Oh,
theme of the book, like
stop.
the book is all college visits. He made
Yeah.
like Jello shots and brownies, and it was very cool. I mean, Books of Wonder like
Mm-hmm.
has been the spot for so many of my launches.
Mm-hmm.
It's really been such a huge part of my career, which is so nice. I mean, that would have to be a stop on like any sort of tour
Yeah.
of my bookish life.
Just the whole store transported into the museum.
Yeah, basically. Even though it's been in like three different areas
Oh
of the
my God,
store.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all big. There are things I haven't gotten to see, but that
Mm-hmm.
like are really meaningful to me, like my books being in the airport. People have sent me pictures, but I've never seen it. The absolute coolest place any of my books is my Shakespeare anthology, That Way Madness Lies. I've seen two pictures that people have sent me from the Globe Theater,
Stop.
which
I just
is
got
meant to be
chills. That's
the coolest
so
thing in the
cool.
entire world. I'm sure it's not there anymore, but I just so cool. I think
Yeah.
somebody once sent me a picture of His Hideous Heart in like Nora Roberts' bookstore, like displayed or something like that, um, which was amazing. I also like I've never seen one of my books internationally, but both Phil
Mm-hmm.
Stamper and Victoria Schwab have sent me pictures of like one saw it in Argentina, one saw it in Mexico or something like that. Like the only reason I have a Spanish Cool for the Summer, the only reason
Mm-hmm.
I have a copy of Spanish Cool for the Summer is like Phil picked it up for me on a vacation. Like it was so nice.
Oh, I love
Um,
author friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And people I don't talk to very often, even just like will spot it and send me a picture. And I'm like, this is really nice because I know we haven't talked in 5 years. But like you saw it and you thought of me and you wanted to make sure I saw it. And that's awesome.
It's giving like I always told people I love getting gifts, but I love the ones that are like, here's a random rock that I saw in a creek and it's green, so I thought of you. So it's like that kind of thing, but it's like it's your literal book. So
Yeah.
but it's so nice. Yeah. Yeah. Um if speaking of like international book findings, if
Mhm.
you had like all the money in the world and all the free time in the world and you could plan out a trip to anywhere, what would that
Bookish
look like?
related or just like where do I want to go?
Yeah, whichever. I mean, where do you want to go?
I want to go to Morocco. Morocco's
Oh my
like
God.
half of my list. I like almost like I sort of planned going there a few years ago, and then we decided not to, and then I got to make it happen. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the architecture, the history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jewish, and there's like deep Jewish history
Mm-hmm.
in Morocco. I'm not Moroccan,
Mm-hmm.
but Spain and Morocco, I mean, both of them have
Yes.
like real extensive
Mm-hmm.
Jewish history that I would like love to explore to the extent they still have, whatever they have exhibit wise. But I mean, there's something about the architecture of Morocco. I just want to like stare at it and
Mm.
breathe it in for days and days. So that's really my number one. Once upon a time, Russia was really high on that list, obviously a long time ago, and I thought I was going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
God, like 2008. I had a whole trip planned. And again, that did not work out, but I took
Bummer.
Russian, like I was a Russian minor in college. I
Okay.
really wanted to go to the Hermitage. I really wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go to Moscow and see Red Square and like just see all these things that I had been studying. Now that'll
Mm-hmm.
probably never happen. Not a place I want to put my dollars in any way, but
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair. One of my claims to fame is that I was almost deported from Russia after the Olympics in 2014. Um, my college did partners with the Olympic Broadcasting Service, and they send like their
Cool.
MediaCom students there, and then the journalism students were like, "Hey, can we go to the Olympics?" So we partnered with like local news stations, and they sent us to Sochi, and I'm like, it's like the last time probably that like you could visit Russia without being like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
because I think it was like right after the Olympics that they did Crimea. But as we were leaving, they were like, well, your visa's not valid anymore. And we were like, right, we're getting on the plane. And they're like, you'll be in the Moscow airport, though. So we're going to have to deport you. And we were like, but we're leaving.
Right. We're doing that. Like
They
we're
said, give us
supposed to do
$50
it.
each and we won't deport you. And we were like, fuck, okay. Did we just get, like,
Yeah, Yes.
shit, whatever the word is, like, whatever. Yeah. So, and we didn't see much of the country, obviously, but we did walk around the Olympic Park a lot.
Something.
Yeah. Okay, now that we've like warmed up and broken the ice, the big question, which is I tell everyone before I ask, I always make too big a deal of it. Most of the questions that I ask here, if they're like, you can answer to whatever extent you feel comfortable. So this is my like, how are you doing question. And you can say like, poor, or you can say like, I'm good, let's move on. Like, feel free to share as much or as little as you want. I also tend to answer the question and I'll share like, I am doing mid at
Yeah.
best. Like, yeah.
I don't think anybody can be like, I am doing great. You know,
No, it
the
sucks.
world
It's
is
awful.
falling apart and horrible, and our government is horrible,
Yeah.
and tax season is like looming. And I'm like, I don't want to give you a single dollar for any of the horrific things you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, there's no doing well. Um, the thing I'm really interested in now is I've been very into heated rivalry. I'm a big cliche. That's fine. I'm like, it's like
Aren't
my
we
first
all?
time really in a fandom though. Um,
Yeah.
like, yes, I was obsessed with Nirvana once upon a time, but like that was such a solo kind of endeavor. Or like I hung out in Nirvana chat rooms on AOL, and like most of what we did was play this stupid game where we like unscrambled Nirvana song titles. Like this is very different for me. But I think the effect on people's psyches is really interesting, and specifically watching like this phenomenon that seems to be obviously not strictly, but my area of interest on middle-aged women kind of feeling like, what did I do with my life? And there's this weird emptiness that it evokes, even as you love the show and you love the actors and you're so excited about all of this. And it's really interesting. Like I keep like having in my head, I'm like, but Rachel Reed is a middle-aged woman and Jacob Tierney is a middle-aged man. And like, it's their work. And this is like what they're doing at, you know, similar ages to us. And how are we feeling? So, but I also, I like I feel that kind of weirdness and I don't get it because I did the thing. Like other people are like, well, I didn't pursue, you know, acting, which I wanted to pursue, and now I'm going to like taking acting classes for the first time. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I did though. Like, I wanted to be an author since I was like 8 years old, and I did the thing, and I have filled these years with the thing. And I, to be perfectly honest, pushed off having kids so that I could like have books published before I did it because I knew if I didn't, I would probably never get off the ground. Um, and so I can't figure out if it's just like this fandom mentality where you get swept up with the other people like you and it's just sort of like brain sync. I'm like, what is it that I am beating myself up over? Like, I pursued
Yeah.
my dreams and actually hit a whole bunch in that realm. So, I'm trying to better understand this. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure what it is, but it's
That is an element
interesting.
of the fandom and the show that I have been thinking about myself, but I haven't necessarily heard others talk about, which is like for me, I tend to be either obsessive or kind of meh. And from the moment I like heard the phrase heated rivalry on a Fated Mates podcast last summer, I was like, okay, this will be my new thing. And there's always like tinged with it from the beginning was this sort of like dark side that was like I'm envious and
Yeah.
I want that success. And for me it's looked like my freak out is like you hear the stories of people who are like I wrote the book in my 50s because I didn't want to get to the end of my life and have a regret. And I was like, cool. My like you said, like my biggest dream was always to write books. I've written 9 of them. I've been trying to publish them for 12 years. What's my regret going to be? Is it going to be that I spent so much time doing books and it didn't necessarily like pan out?
But you're
And
doing it. Like it's
I
the same
know.
thing. You are doing it. And so like I find the instinct to beat ourselves up anyway, even as we're doing it, so curious.
I think I mean, it's probably deeply rooted in our psyches and our childhoods and also the society that raised us or whatever. But it's also just no matter how much success we ever achieve, there will always be someone who is like slightly more successful. Unless you're literally like the Taylor Swift of the world or
Yeah.
whatever, or like Stephen King. which so few of us are. So it's, to me at least, it's like, oh, I've achieved this great thing. Well, someone else is doing better. So like that's an option, and I haven't gotten
Right.
there yet.
And I don't know if having more access to these things, like there's so many interviews and sometimes they're on social
Yes.
media and I'm like, is it like Stephen King? Like I'll see him on Threads and he was just talking about like Melissa Albert's book and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know Melissa Albert. So now this is like you've brought Stephen King into like the realm of like my reality and it's true. It's like,
Yeah.
well, this is like what's happening now?
I mean,
Like
it
some
literally,
more
so this
things like
is,
should be accessible. Yeah.
yeah. We're recording on Wednesday, March 4th, which is what's it called, pertinent, because literally 2 days ago Threads discovered that sometimes Hudson Williams will interact with
Once.
Kennedy Ryan.
Right.
um
And
and
it was
but
Ryan
everyone's like,
Ryan, who I'm
oh,
like,
it's an
oh, we
option.
follow each other on Threads. So
Yeah,
now, like,
like the degrees of separation are getting smaller and smaller.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's real. I spend too much time thinking about whether I've chosen like the wrong path, which is like, I mean, as long as you're happy, like if you've lived your life and you've found joy, like is there a wrong path? And the little like evangelical indoctrinator in my brain is like, yes, and then I'm like, no. So struggles.
Well, what I also find interesting about it, and going back to like, again, like the middle-aged women of it, which, I'm older than you, this is not your, but, I'll see people like, oh, I've never had a love like this. And I think some of these people are like women who are married with children. And I'm like, what I want you to understand about this is you are watching the fall in love part that took 10 years because their lives are hard. They are dealing with like an incredibly homophobic space. Like you're watching the romance come out of it because it's such a fight. You just didn't have that fight. And now, I mean, I don't think it's like particularly spoilery to say, but like they want a life, they want marriage, they want what you already have. Like their fight for it is much harder and so looks more romantic. Like what you're lamenting that I don't think you realize you're lamenting is that you didn't have to fight that hard to get the life that is what they actually want. I mean, I can't do anything about the fact that you're not a star hockey player and a billionaire, but,
No,
like,
that's
that you don't have like the body of Connor Story or Hudson Williams. But like, and I think that's such a missing piece. I think the romance of it and how hard they had to work is so compelling, but it's just that not every relationship needs to have that work, and that's a privilege, and that's a thing that I think is not sufficiently absorbed by a lot of
yeah,
people who are kind of looking at their lives right now. And so again, this is all really interesting to me to view.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
yeah. The world is on fire. We have heated rivalry, which is like a spot of joy. Um, and lately I found myself leaning more and more into stories, both the ones that I write and the ones that I read, because it's the only way I can like find peace mentally.
I think a lot of people are in that space now. So
Yeah.
feels good to be creating and want to keep creating. Um, yeah, it's just hard to
Yeah.
find the headspace, the time, the
And
everything.
then, you'll find the headspace and then you'll get a push notification that just derails things. And that's why the brick is the thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah. It is interesting what you said, because I found myself thinking, like, I should have a 9-year situationship. And it's like, well, no, that's just because we're not seeing the times in between when, like, they can't be together and it sucks and, like, they're seeing homophobia all the
Right.
time. We're only seeing them together yearning.
Right. Also, it's the kind of thing like how many people would have put up with like 6 months of being ghosted,
Yeah.
or how many people would have like continued to chase their situationship for 2 years
Two
of being
years.
shut down, for
Yeah.
anything physical. And it's like, again, you don't really want that, I don't think. But it's, the time jumps are so necessary for the storytelling and they're beautifully done, but it's impossible as the people watching it to internalize. I mean, not the 6 months, because I think that's a really like well played out scene where like you get that pain and you get that he's holding and doesn't want to but can't help it. But
Mm-hmm.
thinking about like the 2 years, which is a thing that was done for the show that is not in the books,
Mm-hmm.
specifically in order to make their first like penetrative time be in a different episode from their first time period.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm like, but that is that 2 years that like you realistically want? Like,
No.
would you be the pursuer or would you push someone off for those 2 years? Like, is that real to you? Like, as a
Mm-hmm.
thing that you like would do or would want to do? And I feel like not enough people kind of grapple with whether this situationship is something they actually would want or find healthy or find doable or
Mm-hmm.
desirable or whatever in their own lives. So,
Yeah. That is a really great point and like almost like a reality check that I needed. So,
you're welcome.
thank you. What is, speaking of stories,
Yeah.
what is the best sort of story that you have seen, witnessed, read, consumed lately? Whether that's a fictional story that you've seen in the media, something you witnessed, something that happened to you.
I've not been having a lot of like external life lately, to be perfectly honest. So it's really just consuming stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am watching Shameless for the first time,
Oh, okay.
which is really interesting. I'm in a later season. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, one of those shows where I just think the earlier seasons are better. Um,
Gotcha.
which is, for various reasons, and some of them are clearly out of control. Like sometimes like cast members leave for a bit because they're filming other things. Like you can't do anything
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so interesting to me because it's such a like boundary pushing intentionally offensive show that like
Yes.
is the kind of thing I generally feel people do not have the stomach for or the desire for or anything like that anymore. And I've never followed its fandom or anything like that, but it's
Mm-hmm.
come up a little with Heated Rivalry because of the gay couple on Shameless. And so when I see people like compare the couple on Shameless to the couple from Heated Rivalry, or I just see in general like who's talking about it, and I'm like, I kind of can't believe that you specifically sat through that show or call yourself a fan of that show. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not criticism, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's exactly the kind of show where I feel like if I were watching people talk about it in real time in 2026, every
Mm.
thread would be about how disgusting it is. And I'm like, but that's not, it
Oh,
doesn't seem like that's what the experience of the show was. And if they were going to
yeah.
cancel it for any of the many cancelable things in it, like it wouldn't have had, I don't remember how many seasons it has. I'm on 9. I think there's
Oh,
11.
wow. Okay.
I had no idea it ran for that long.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's very cool and fun. Like I really knew very little about it. Really, the
Mm-hmm.
reason I wanted to eventually watch it is because um, one of my past agents had compared the main character in my book Last Will and Testament to like one of the main protagonists on the show, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, I don't know what it means that she like is like Fiona, but I want to see. And
Yeah.
so watching it, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Um, but I just like I see so much people tearing like everything apart. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't say that critically. It's, a lot of it comes from like, these are things you need to understand about like terminology. I mean, a lot of it just comes from people having voices and platforms that they didn't have before. And they're things we should know. But I feel like Shameless was crafted with somebody knowing all of that and being like, don't care, saying it anyway. Anyway,
Gotcha.
it's just interesting to like see it have thrived so recently when I have the hardest time imagining it thriving now. Um,
Yeah.
but to see it
There's,
come back for people comparing those couples, and the couples are so different. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get this comparison in the slightest. It's just interesting to me. I can't say that's like, sorry, you were asking about like a favorite, and it's not that it's that, although I find it incredibly non-boring, which
like
is
lots to think about and think like,
just, and so much happens. And
yeah.
because it feels like, especially in the earlier seasons, there's just like no boundary on what they'll have a character say or do. It's these
Okay.
things you're used to, like TV won't do that, they do.
Mm.
And so then you're like, oh, there's really kind of like no limit to where it could go. And I love those where like you can't guess the
Right.
showrunner's limit. That for
Yeah.
me, this is going way back to, I think it's season 6 of Grey's Anatomy that ends in like the hospital shooting. And they went really hard with who got killed and injured in the
Oh.
episode. And I was like, oh, I would have thought I had a handle on their limits, and I
Mm.
don't. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really exciting to me to not know how far they can go. And
Yeah.
there's a death in season 1 of Vampire Diaries that did the same kind of thing. Um, and those to
Yeah.
me are really exciting because one thing that I have found is really kind of killing reading for me right now is I know people's limits. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I will read a book and it's a murder mystery and there's only 1 to 2 straight white people in it, and I know that person is the killer because the writer did not want to make the marginalized person a villain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like, now I know it in every book I read. And like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know your limit, and so I know where you're not going, and so I know the answer, and so that takes away the excitement of reading for me.
Yeah. That makes me think of two things.
Yeah.
One, you mentioned Victoria Schwab earlier, and it
Mhm.
reminds me of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. And I was at the launch event for that last June, and one thing she said was like she wanted to write a lesbian villain, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
careful there." And she was like, "Fine, they're all lesbians, and some of them are villains. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like, you can write marginalized people being bad as long like you just can't." The line is like, oh, it's all straight white people, and then the one person of color is evil, or like,
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing criticism of As I Descended by Robin Talley, which is like a modern paranormal Macbeth.
oh wow,
And
okay,
same kinds of thing where like queer people are villains. And I saw people calling it like bury our gays. I'm like, first of all, it's Macbeth. Second of all, they're all gay. That's not how this works.
yeah, yeah, and I
Robin
think
Talley did not bury your gays. She wrote an incredibly queer, cool version of
yes,
Macbeth. And
just
you're going to
because
why we don't get cool literature like this.
just because like a gay was buried potentially doesn't mean that it was bury your gays, like.
No.
And it also makes me think of, I think it's on Fated Mates. Sarah McLean has said something similar about like, and the term I think is like pulling their punches, right? Like writers maybe not necessarily going all out because there is a culture of readers who don't like that and will try
Yeah.
and, on the internet where no one knows who they are.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. And it's really loud and it's made work feel very safe and very limited. And so I find reading less exciting than I used to be honest. Like, I'd rather read something that I think goes over the line and get kind of mad about it and talk about it and okay, than like
Like a
nobody's
3-star.
stuff that gets anyone mad.
Yeah, yeah. That's very fair. And I think we talk a lot, or like I see a lot of conversation about like art as political and like resistance and everything. And I do think part of that is like we have to be brave in, as the current administration tries to change the culture in terms of what is allowed and what is acceptable in schools or in conversation. Like, it's writers have to be brave and be able to still like push boundaries.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't really get what's like resisting about
Fair.
reinforcing the idea that every queer person has to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's
No.
not resistance. That's falling
Yeah.
in line. It's literally the opposite. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the morally gray queer books,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
messy romances, or
Love a messy romance.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's very fair. And I think a conversation that like needs to be had and more often than maybe it is and more broadly than it can be sometimes, because I don't know, I'm also thinking of I listened to Plot Twist, which is Victoria Aveyard and Soman Chainani's podcast. And one thing I remember Victoria saying at one point was like, on a podcast at least you can like finish your conversation and you don't have a character limit, and then people are going to read it and jump to a conclusion and not read the rest of the thread. Like, they kind of, I mean, they
yeah,
could stop listening after you say something, but like you have the space to kind
yeah,
of inject nuance into a conversation.
yeah.
So I appreciate that about the podcast.
Yes.
You know, whatever. What are some recent obsessions that you've had, whether it's a book or a show or like an item, a home good, a clothing?
I'm like looking for clothing to be obsessed with. I have events coming up and I'm like trying to
Oh
find
yeah.
stuff I love and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not super excited about anything. I mean, I don't have a particularly like fun body to dress. So,
It's
um,
hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
I look, my younger son is 5.5 and I look like I'm still pregnant with him. And it's just like, that doesn't go away, but it's less fun to dress than it used to be. That is for sure.
Yeah. I had found like cider was really great for me for like dresses that worked on my body. And
Mhm.
then someone was like, "Oh yeah, now they're bad quality." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Yeah, I got some from there that were not great. I would
so
not do that
annoying.
again. So I'm like, I got a couple from Bowdoin. I got
Okay.
one or two from Anthropology. I'm like,
Yeah.
rather get like nice stuff I'm gonna keep wearing. Um, I get a lot from Land's End now. That's how I
Okay.
know I'm like really in my 40s. I really like I started there for my bathing suits and then I went for pajamas because they have these really cute pajama sets and now I'm like straight up buying
Nice.
dresses from them and I'm like it's a little bit embarrassing, but I don't care. I mean,
I I was like 19 shopping at Coldwater Creek because that's where I worked and I got a discount. And it was like all of my customers were like 60 plus. And then there was me with my like cute little
it
cardigans.
just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, TV wise, obviously, Heated Rivalry. I'm also watching season 2 of The Pit.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
yeah, I don't know. I'm very easily distractible from TV these days, and like I said, shameless. But like I think season 1 of The Pit is just one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen, and I am sure season 2 is like similarly good. It's just not holding my attention, I think, because it's just not kind of the vibe I want to surround myself with right now, but I'm watching it
Yeah.
anyway because I know it's really good and I want to have watched it. Um, there are things I want to try and I'm just not getting there. There's a lot of stuff I DVR. I like in the last year I've like gotten like there's a lot of like fun procedurals, so like Duck and
Yeah.
Will Trent and High Potential, but they're all just still kind of sitting on my DVR. They're
Yeah.
there waiting to be watched. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I mean, I'm reading. I don't know. I just really liked, I've had a few romances I really liked lately. Still Into You by Erin Connor,
Oh,
The Best
nice.
Worst Thing by Lauren Oakey.
Oh, yeah.
Those were really good. Anderson and Bloom by Jennifer Dugan is my new favorite of hers. I thought I would read more literary fiction this year just because I have more time. I close to blurbs, but I don't know. It hasn't happened. I would like it to. I feel like I've read other things I love this year, and I don't know why they're totally escaping my brain. But
Well, it's because I asked.
yeah,
So,
I'm still trying to read a lot of romance because I'm writing romance, and I know some people really like to avoid the genre they're reading, and I'm the opposite. I really like to read avoid the genre they're writing, and I really like
yeah.
to kind of live in that space. Partly because I do my reading on Saturday, which is I observe Jewish Sabbath and I don't write. And so
Gotcha.
for me to kind of stay in that working authorial whatever headspace, it really helps to um, stay reading those things. So that's been a big thing for me.
Nice.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not a lot else. I thought I would get like, yeah, I always like, there's like 50 things on my list I want to do.
Yeah.
Even if I just like play The Sims and I just don't do it.
Yeah, no, the whole executive dysfunction of it all, or like, I'm struggling with that. I'll be like, oh, I should do something, and then I'm just
Yeah.
on
Also, like my
threads.
kids are just in a consuming phase right now. So,
Gotcha.
um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. I did recently get a new book idea I'm really excited about. So I have been taking like any opportunity to outline that, um,
Nice.
which is really fun. I have to finish the thing I am writing. And so that's always like a
Yeah.
cool place to be. Um, yeah.
But that's awesome. I love the whole, like, when you get a new book idea and it starts to, like, take form and, like, flesh itself out a little bit. Like, yeah,
For
it's
me,
always
the
a good
thing
time.
I've always loved about writing is like my brain is always going. But if I'm not very attached to something I'm working on right then, I don't know what it's going to be going with. And then, like, it could drift to anything, which could be like the hell that is the world right now, or what am I missing on social media, or whatever. You know, it goes to places I don't want it to go. But when I have
Yeah.
a book idea and I can think about that in all those dead spaces, the ones where I'm falling asleep, or I don't have the energy to
Yeah.
read, but I'm just sort of relaxing with my eyes closed on a Saturday and I cannot watch TV, or, and then it fills in all those empty spaces. That for me is my absolute favorite part of being an author, a writer, a
Okay.
creator, anything from like when I was a little kid, that book planning would fill that space. And so I have found I've actually gone a really long stretch of not being in that space, and it has been like incredible for my brain to be doing that again, to be outlining, to be writing, to be imagining, to be like mentally crafting these characters. Like I'm so happy being back in that space. I just
Yeah.
wish like that could be the next thing on my plate. But I have other commitments, so that's been a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But that, oh man, in
Yeah.
those off closed eye moments, it's my favorite thing in the whole world.
I love
Other
that.
than my family, love my family.
Yeah. Speaking of books and romance, what is your most like earnest, sincere romance or romance novel opinion?
I mean, this is kind of going back to the whole thing about, I don't know if this counts as sincere, but about knowing people's limits. I love when people are not afraid to go outside like the expected beats. Like, to me, it just feels so much more real when you are having the characters learn each other sort of a different way. Like, um, this like, oh, they're gonna get to this base at 30% and then they'll go,
Yep.
all the way to 75%. And I'm just like, I see it all coming and it can't feel authentic to me because I can't escape that I'm reading a romance novel. So when people find different ways to show that intimacy, to show that connection, um, I hate myself that I keep going back to heated rivalry, but in this case, I'm doing it because it's something very similar to what I did with Soon by You, which is my upcoming romance novel. Is like the physical intimacy is where the emotional intimacy comes from for some people who don't know how to have those conversations or are not really familiar with experiencing intimacy in a real way. And so they don't know what those relationships are supposed to look like. They have no guidebook. This is the thing that they are, this is the level they're connecting on. This is where they're
Yeah.
comfortable. And so telling the emotional intimacy story through the physical intimacy is such a big thing. And it's, a lot of people don't like that, don't get that, think that makes it all about lust. And I'm just like,
Eh.
it's just a different relationship language they're speaking. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually talked about this a lot on Threads, but it's been very gratifying for me to see people understand this in heated rivalry because then I'm like, well, then I hope they'll understand it in Soon by You too. And I know some people don't, but some people do. Um, and to me, that's really great. And yes, I just a romance novel that really digs at the heart of different ways people connect instead of following the like very expected path. I mean, those are just like the greatest things to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like the like breaking the sort of like switching things up. Like you know what the beats are and then you kind of subvert them or like
I don't
replace one
even
with
want to
the
know
other
you're
kind of
thinking
thing.
about them. Like, I don't want to know you're thinking about the beats. I don't want to feel like you wrote this book for tropes. I'm so tired of like the
You want a
tropes.
book that doesn't tell you it's a book, right? Like I don't know if that
I
makes
don't want
sense,
to
but
feel like it's a book. I want to feel like
yeah.
it's an experience, and
Yeah.
it's
Like I want to feel like I'm on the page with them.
yeah.
Which is I remember when I was a kid like reading, well, I wouldn't read them now because they were, Christian historical fiction romances, but I would get so in them that I would like one, I would create a character for myself and I would put myself in the story and then I would like punch people because they were being assholes. That's my greatest hope is to someday enter a story and like just deck someone who's being an asshole. But
I'm not a self-insert reader, like especially in romance, but
I'm not anymore.
I just want to believe it.
Yeah, but I would be like I'd be like clutching the book, pacing up and down our little creaky floor hallway and being like, "Oh, I'm so angry." And my mom was like, "I worry about you."
But it's so nice. I don't want to feel like I'm reading someone's homework assignment, even if it's a
Yeah.
homework assignment you are really proud of and that you did a
Yeah.
really good job on.
I want to be like
So
in
yes,
it.
yeah,
And when it comes to romance, I'm like I want to be in it not as one of the characters necessarily, but as like I still want to be in it.
yeah.
And I don't self-insert in romance because I just not as a character at least.
Mhm.
because they are their own people and I am my own person. So why would I be them? You know? Anyway. Um, okay, and this is another question where you can answer to whatever extent you feel comfortable. So what is like a good and or a hard moment in your publishing journey of late?
I mean, the whole beginning was tough in the sense. Oh, my computer's gonna die.
Oh
The
no.
whole beginning was tough in the sense of like I was in a debut group, which a lot of new authors
Mhm.
are, and like it's really helpful, and you can get answers to your questions, etc. But like, I just saw people getting these kinds of opportunities and support, and especially money that I wasn't getting, and I'm like, you're not working harder than me. I'm just with a smaller
Mhm.
publisher than you, and that was a really hard pill to swallow. And I wouldn't take it back because I don't think I would have written a queer book if not for being at a small publisher that was really encouraging of it.
Mhm.
And that, I mean, changed the course of my life in a billion different ways. And I actually got opportunities I wasn't sure I would get. Like I was like, oh, I'm with
Mhm.
a small publisher. Am I still going to be in Barnes and Noble? And I was. Am I still going to get
Nice.
trade reviews? And I did. Am I still going to sell
Mhm.
foreign rights? And I did. Like I I had a really good experience as far as like the small publishing thing
Mhm.
goes. But when I would see people like lamenting their low advances and they were four times mine, it was just
Ooh.
really hard to exist in that space
Mhm.
of like it feeling like we're not in the same industry and I'm not valued like you, and somebody is putting the judgment that my work is worth less than yours. And I know that's not really what it is. Like publishers can
Mhm.
pay what they can pay, and bigger publishers decided, wasn't worth it, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I, that was really hard.
Mhm.
Self-publishing was fun because I learned a lot about like what you could do, what
Mhm.
power you had, inner workings of things like metadata that really helped me take more control of these things later in my
Mhm.
career. So I did really like self-publishing, which I would not have been able to do without people who
Yeah.
knew better than me helping. I mean, May Liz Briggs, rest in peace. She was wonderful at this kind of
Mhm.
thing. I mean, she helped so much.
Nice.
Um, and so that whole beginning, and that was my first six books, but like
Mhm.
three were small press and three were self-pub. And
Mhm.
so it's, I mean, Soon by You is my 16th book, and I'm still not a full-time author. And
Mhm.
by some people's standards, I'm sure I could be. I like admittedly live an
Mhm.
expensive life, just, where I live, and we send my kids to private
Yeah.
school because they go to
Mhm.
Jewish schools.
Mhm.
And so, you know, but the the feeling of like not being able to devote myself as fully as other people can. Like I can't do research trips.
Yeah.
Um I can't take as much time to like dive into things as I want to. So I feel like it's
Mhm.
really limiting on like kind of how much I can expand my craft or the kind of world I can write, and that part is
Mhm.
tough. And I also like I just it's very hard to be away from my kids both emotionally and on my like nervous system, but
Yeah.
also just logistically. And so like a writer's retreat that I know what I would benefit from so much, but I'm like I can't because of them. I can't because I don't have the time off my day job, because I need my day job time for like Jewish holidays. Like those kinds of things have
Mhm.
all been very tough. I mean, there are a billion highlights, but there's a lot has been tough. But
Mhm.
then I'm like, all those things were really tough, and I got this many books out of it, and I kind of
Yeah.
pat myself on the back that I have
No,
done
you should. That's like really impressive that you
that. Thank you.
that you like kept going and you were like, no, I'm sticking it out and I'm gonna.
Yeah. And there were years I could not write. The first like
Yeah.
year and a half after I had my um, older child, I did short stories. I could not write a novel. Like
Mhm.
my later books were made out of scraps and ideas from that time, like Home Field Advantage and Going by Coastal were both kind
Mhm.
of conceived in that range. And Home Field Advantage was like, that's what I was like
Mhm.
gnashing my teeth about for like that whole window. And eventually I figured it out. Um, Ironically, mostly written during my second maternity leave because for that one I had childcare.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was tough. And like, I will
Mhm.
applaud myself a lot for getting back on the horse. But I also know if I hadn't like delayed having kids to do those first six books, and I hadn't had those experiences and learned what I learned and
Mhm.
all that, I don't know that I would have gotten started later.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's hard to be too mad at myself for how I did things, but like now I feel myself kind of butting up against, well, I would like to expand what I can do now. I see all these festivals and I can't go to any of them. And, you know,
Yeah.
those kinds of things are tough.
Yeah. It's like I can't remember if this was before we started recording or not, but it's hard to feel like there's a level of success that you could be reaching
Yeah.
if circumstances made it
Right. And you don't
more
know. Like, I have
possible.
no idea if I could,
Yeah.
but I just feel
Well,
like,
but even success in terms of like expanding your craft, right? Like there's
right.
a like you were saying like there's I think about this in terms of like time between book deals. Like if
Mm,
you can take 2 years between books, the books will possibly and you can spend that time like researching or just getting to know your characters. It's going to be a different experience than if you have to do 1 to 2 books a year and you're like not able to let
yeah.
them simmer as much. Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know before we hop off about your upcoming works?
I really just would love people to read Soon by You. I think people are like a little nervous about it because look, it is very Jewish and it's hard for me to see the like, oh, just how many words you might have to look up in a dictionary because it's my life.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm very grateful when people give it a shot and like see beyond. Like it is cultural, but I think a lot of it is fully relatable. I mean, my agent's not Jewish and my editor's not Jewish, and they found plenty to love in this book, and plenty to relate to. And so I just really hope that people give it a shot. Like if you learn something that's like more about what my culture looks like, awesome. If you don't, I don't care. I just want you to appreciate that like I wrote a
Yeah.
good romance with really fun characters who go through what I think is a really interesting journey of intimacy and learning
Yeah.
how to relate to each other and finding things you didn't think were meant for you. And
And the
um,
banter's on point, as it always is in a Dahlia Adler book.
well,
So,
yeah, so
um,
I would really like people to read it. And I would really like to
and
keep writing adult romance. So in order to make that
yes,
happen, I really kind of need people to read it. So please
yes.
do that.
And where can listeners find you in order to like follow you and support you?
I am at Miss Dalai Lama, MissDahlelama on both Instagram and Threads. I am not as frequently on Blue Sky. This always changes. But there on missdalilama.dahliaadler.com. That's it. I am not on Twitter.
Yeah,
Don't bother
no. Ugh.
looking. I have not been there in a long time.
Yeah.
And then of course LGBTQ Reads is just at LGBTQ Reads everywhere. Blue Sky, Tumblr, Instagram, Threads. It's everywhere. Yeah.
And this episode will go out this Sunday, which means listeners, this upcoming week, if you're listening the day it goes live, LGBTQRaids.com's 10-year anniversary
Is coming up.
celebration.
Yes, and there's actually a lot of information. Next week is like busy for me in terms of announcing stuff, my pre-order campaign, my tour schedule. I think
Ooh,
all this stuff kind of kicks off March 9th, which is
okay.
Monday. And I'm really excited to talk about this all. So if you go to my website, dahliaadler.com, which is always updated, you can sign up for my newsletter, make sure you don't miss anything.
Yes.
I rarely send it, so you do not have to worry about being inundated. I would like to be better at my newsletter. I am not, but it will have information soon. So, and I'm going
Amazing.
places I've never been before for events, so that's really exciting. I'll be doing in New York, and I'm going back to Boston this time to Lovestruck. But I'm going to
Ooh.
Chicago and Milwaukee, and I've never
Oh
even
my
been to Milwaukee,
God.
period. So I'm
That's
really excited about that.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me
Thanks
today.
for having
I
me.
really appreciate it. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Dahlia. I had the best of times chatting with her. I really appreciated her her insights into story and publishing and a long publishing journey, and I just had the best time. Dahlia is so amazing. I'm never sad to walk away from a conversation with her. I always feel better. So, if you are interested in Dahlia's YA books, you can order her young adult romances. They're out now. My personal favorite is Come As You Are. I did review it last year, and it moved me, and it lives in my brain forever. But her next novel is her adult romance debut. It's called Soon by You. It's about a wedding singer and woman. And then, sorry, I don't know what the main character, I couldn't think of another way to describe the like female main character. But it's really cute, and there's great banter as ever, and it's sexy and it's fun, and I think you'll enjoy it if you are interested in it. So go ahead and pre-order that now. If you are seeing this, if you're listening to this on Sunday or Monday, March 8 or 9, go ahead and follow Dahlia on socials. You can follow her at lgbtqreads.com on socials. Keep your eyes peeled for tour announcements, pre-order campaigns, all that good stuff. And let's just go ahead and support her to the best of our abilities, because she deserves it and she's the best. And LGBTQ Reads truly, truly is a very special platform and place. And like I said during the episode, Dahlia very kindly hosted the cover reveal for my debut, which comes out in June. It is indie published, and I have felt so warm in my heart and in my soul with just like the support that I've been given from the community, and that really includes Dahlia showing up for me with LGBTQ Reads. So that is very special to me. Bye, love you.